Abba.
Oh.
Oh. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Okay.
Say hello.
Hello.
Okay, let's see who's here.
I want to help us.
Okay, we're gonna wait a minute, and hopefully people are gonna join us.
I see. You can see. You can. I can see. So.
We're gonna see if anybody's gonna join us.
Nobody's here.
Nobody's here yet.
Yeah. Only. Are you sure people are going? You know. One person's here.
Someone's here. Who's here?
Hi.
Who's with us? Can you hear us?
It's Ellie.
Ellie. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's Abba. 2 viewers.
Oh, 2 viewers. Okay.
That's Abba. This is Abba. And this is Yosef.
Oh, Yaakov's here. Okay. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
See you if anybody else is coming in. We're gonna wait another minute, and then we'll get started. We'll make faces.
Excited! Meh. I like to movie.
Okay.
Hey, with me. I can see you. Yes, I am. What? Ow.
Hurt yourself. Careful.
It doesn't hurt.
You
Ow. I'm not joking. I'm joking.
Don't worry about it.
Hi, everyone. Hi. I'm going to kiss you. Yeah. He's.
Okay.
Okay. This is the.
Okay. Here we go. All right. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to your living room. Yes.
And standing room.
Got a little change of scenery. But thank you, everybody, for coming. I hope everybody's doing well.
Nobody's here.
Please remember to.
Abba,
yes.
nobody's here.
There are people here. You see this number up here? Shows us how
That's
many people are here. Okay.
You need to have thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Okay. Today we're gonna talk about. We kind of talked about it yesterday. Yesterday we discussed the story of the bully and the 2 boys or 2 girls, whoever, 2 children or 2 young people in the playground, and the bullies come up and gather around them. And these 2 people who are in the playground could be complete strangers, but when
That's that baby.
But
hey, there's one.
When bullies come.
No, bunny.
When bullies come, and they surround these 2 people who don't know each other, all of a sudden they start to work together.
To that bathroom.
And they can become very close.
Go to that bathroom.
Okay, you go. And they can become very close with each other. And we said that's what Hashem does. That's the promise Hashem made to Abraham, that whenever there's going to be people who are going to try to hurt us.
Back here.
Are going to be the bullies around us.
I don't want to sit on your lap.
Okay. Well, then you need to just say hello and be done.
Hello.
Okay, all done. And these bullies are going to come. They're going to be sent for a reason. They're going to be sent so that it keeps us together. It keeps us as a people, and we get closer to each other. And we have to remember that as much as those people are going to come, Vihisha Amda, they're going to come every single generation. Still, Hashem is going to be Matzi Leinu Miyadam. Hashem is going to save us from their hands. He's always going to be there at the end of the day to protect us and keep us, always. And we said that there's 2 ways that the nations of the world go about doing this, go about creating this outside pressure.
I eat cookies.
Eating a cookie. There's 2 ways that they go about doing this. One is like Paro. It's like the Mitzrim, where they physically try to hurt us. They enslave us terribly, and we'll talk about what that means we're going to talk about in another video what the slavery of Mitzrayim was like. And they come to really physically hurt us. They want to hurt our bodies. They want to hurt the Jewish people physically. And then there's those people like Lavan who doesn't want to hurt the Jewish people physically. He wants to destroy Jewish people as a whole by taking the Jewish people and making them into non-Jewish people. Assimilation, by making them not Jewish people, making them into his type of people, other type of people. So we wanted to tell over the story of Lavan and Yaakov, and let's tell over the story for anybody who doesn't know it, and then we'll talk about how he goes about doing this, what he says at the end. Very important. So there's this. So one of our avos is Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu, Jacob, the son of Isaac, the grandson to Abraham.
Eating a cookie.
The ancestor of the man who was eating the cookie in the room. So he takes some brachos, steals some brachos from his brother Esau, who's really not happy with him, and he wants to get him, destroy him. And so Yaakov has to run away, and his mother tells him, go. You're to go to my brother's house, my brother Lavan. You go to his house, and you're going to stay there for a bit to lay low till things cool down. Okay, so your brother's, he's over it. And that's what Yaakov does. He goes there, and he meets with Lavan's daughter first, Rachel, and they decide to get married. And on the night of the wedding, before the wedding, Rachel tells Yaakov, look, I got to tell you something. It's a secret. My father, he's a really tricky guy. He's a cheat. He's a really bad dude. He's not an upstanding citizen. He's really bad news. I don't know if you know what you're marrying into here, but he's not very good. Anyway, still, we want to get married, but he might try to trick you at the last minute and switch me out with somebody else, right? Under the chuppah, we're getting married. He might switch me with somebody else, because even back then, the custom that's how Lavan was able to trick Yaakov. But they were able. A bride has always worn a veil, and so they made up a secret code. And the secret code they had between each other that they would tell each other over at the night of the wedding. And that way they knew they were marrying the right person. The last minute, sure, come in here. But last minute, when Rachel was about to go to the chuppah to be married, her father Lavan says, you're not going anywhere. You know who's going instead?
Wait, what?
Who's going instead of Rachel to marry Yaakov? Leah, that's right. Leah's going instead. And Leah took her place. Well, Rachel had a decision to make. It was either let her go out there, and when the time comes that Yaakov says over the secret code, she'll become very embarrassed, and then Rachel and Yaakov can be married, or realize that, that's right, Leah, or realize that if she goes out there and I don't give her the codes, she's going to be really embarrassed. It'll be terrible for her. So Rachel, who practiced Tznius, and let's talk about Tznius in a second, she gave her sister the secret codes so that she would not be embarrassed in front of everybody at the wedding. Now, Tznius, what do we think about when we talk about Tznius? Or, as is commonly translated, modesty. What does that mean? You got some viewers. Yeah, let's ask these viewers. What is Tznius? Is it modesty? Is that the correct translation that everybody uses. What do you think? Well, everybody else gives us some answers. What do you think tznius is?
Dressing with everything, like dressing with a shirt, a skirt, and leggings and
dressing
socks.
properly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's one way we practice tznius. But what is tznius? Who knows?
Mommy, can I have a cookie?
See, who knows what tznius is?
No, right now. What question did you ask?
I asked, what is tznius? And we're waiting to see if anybody knows.
With these viewers.
Yeah, with these viewers, I asked them, what is tznius? We're waiting to see if they know. Okay, we're going to give it 5 more seconds. Ready? Count it down with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bing, bing, bing. What is tznius? See, tznius, when we think about a married woman covering her hair and wearing proper clothing, and that's really what we think about when we think about tznius. Being dressed, yes, okay. Yaakov says being dressed. That's right. So that's what we think about. We think about being dressed, but being dressed in a specific type of way. But is that what tznius is? What is tznius? Because tznius actually covers different areas of halachos fall into the category of tznius. Not just clothing, but many of the ways in which we act and maybe speak, a lot of the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. Like going to the bathroom. Going to the bathroom is also, there's a way to go to the bathroom that is called tznius. Being dressed. Being dressed, yeah. So what do all these things have in common? And especially when we're told that Rachel Imenu was tznius. No clue, yeah. So let me fill you in. So one of the things that, also when we say that Rachel Imenu was tznius in giving the codes to her sister, what it means is that yes, we have another guest studio audience member here. Let's just show her. Hello. Tznius means. You want to come out? Go take her. Tznius means being understanding and sensitive to things that are important. My sister's feelings and her embarrassment is very important. It's important to make sure she's not embarrassed. Lily, my body, which is special, is important, and I need to protect it, and I need to protect it from other people. People are not supposed to just look at me and not supposed to look at certain parts of me. Now I not. Right? How we eat and how we act to show how important we are all fall under tznius. If I am important, then my actions. Like saying a bracha. Okay, that's lots of different mitzvah, but eating and things like going to the bathroom also under tznius, and that's because those things can be done in a proper way, where I am aware and sensitive about who I am, and that in order to show how special I am and that I'm important, I'm not like an animal, I do those things in a proper way. So, whoa. Oh my gosh, it looked like there was an earthquake here. Okay. When you go down. Please take her. So now, Rachel is, now let's go back to what we were talking about. Rachel is very tznius. She cares about her sister and her sister's feelings, and so she gives her the codes. And Yaakov ends up marrying Leah, her older sister, and Yaakov's furious. Oh man, he's really upset. He promised he'd work a long time. He worked 7 years for her. And now Lavan's telling him, if you want to marry Rachel, right? Wait 1 second. First, Lavan's like, whoa. Everybody knows that the younger sister doesn't get married before the older sister. You had to marry her. I wasn't tricking you in any way. You had to. So he ends up marrying Leah, and then he says, if you want to marry Rachel, you have to work another 7 years, just like you worked 7 years for Leah. And so Yaakov ends up working 14 years to be married to Lavan's two daughters. And from them they have 12 sons and other, I'm sure there's Dina, and there might be many other children, but at least 12 sons, 12 Shvatim. And at a certain point, Yaakov realizes, look, I got to get out of here because Lavan is no good. He's a bad influence, the longer I hang around him, the more I feel like I'm becoming like him. No, I don't want that. And I got to get out of here. So back to Yitzchak's house, Isaac's house, and he's gonna sneak away. But before he does, he makes a deal with Lavan that he'll take he's been watching his sheep for quite some time, and he wants to get paid. He thinks he deserves to get paid. So he tells Lavan, look, you keep all the really nice sheep, and I'll take the ones that are striped and speckled and just don't look very nice. And Lavan's like, oh yeah, good deal. You take all the defective sheep, all the really bad stuff, and I'll take the good ones. That's like if they had a baseball card collection or a hockey card collection, and Yaakov goes, hey, I've been watching this collection and taking care of it for you for a long time. I think maybe you owe me something for it. I have a deal. Why don't you keep all the mint condition cards? That means like the best cards, and I'll take all the ones that are all bent and bad. And Lavan says, well, that appeals to Lavan. He's like, yeah, okay, that sounds like a good scam. I'm in. So he agrees, and Yaakov does this sort of trick where he takes a staff and he puts in some water, and the sheep drink from it, and the sheep have more sheep, and those sheep come out with speckled spots, and before you know it, he's got much more than Lavan has. And he takes off, and Lavan hears about it a few days later, and he chases after him, and he goes to catch up with him. And he moves pretty quick because he doesn't have any kids with him. He's just got him and his riders, and they move very quick. But Yaakov and his family, who have a lot of kids and a lot of sheep, they're moving very slowly. So they had a 3-day lead, and it took a messenger. It took 3 days. They caught up with them very quickly, and Lavan confronts Yaakov. Now, here's the important part, the one that I wanted to get to. When Lavan approaches Yaakov, he says to him, where are you going? These are my daughters. These children are my children. What you have is mine. And we don't really think about this, but we think of our avos, our forefathers, our avos, as Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we do that, and there's good reason for that. And we call them our avos because the things that they did and the actions that they took and the way they acted and the way they developed the relationship that we would have with Hashem are all things that we want to replicate, that we want to repeat and act in that way. And so there are avos, there are role models. We look to them as to how we should be. But they're not our only avos, because if you think about it, Lavan is also our great grandfather. He is of all the Shvatim, all the tribes which we all come from, one of the tribes, whichever one you come from. Lavan is our grandfather. And so Lavan says to Yaakov, 1 second, where are you going? You think this is all yours? It's all mine. In fact, Lavan has more of a claim on it because Yeah, because if it's between him and Rivka, Rivka has one child in the deal, in the family, invested in the family. That's Yaakov, part of this family. And Lavan has two children. He's got Rachel and Leah. So really, there's more of Lavan's people and more of Lavan's family in this deal that we're going to call the Jewish people than there is from Yaakov's family. It's they have 66%, right? That's 2/3. They got 2/3 of the deal. Plus they each have their maidservants, so maybe it's even more. So Lavan has more in this than Yaakov does, and Lavan says, "These children are my children; they're not yours." And Yaakov thinks for a second. And Yaakov's kind of right, right? This is a big problem. And what Lavan is trying to say is, I have more in this than you, and so how the Jewish people are going to be, how your family going forward is going to be, I'm going to decide how that is, not you. I'm going to decide that, and they're going to be like me. They're not going to be like you. And so, if it wasn't for the fact that Hashem comes and tells Lavan in the middle of the night, "Hey, you leave, don't touch Yaakov, or you're going to deal with me." And then Lavan makes a deal with Yaakov and leaves him alone. That could have been what happened. That could have been that Lavan would have taken over, and we wouldn't have been the Bnei Yisroel. We would have been the Bnei Lavan, and we would have all looked very, very different and acted very, very differently. But that is one of the ways in which the nations of the world try to get us. They say, "Hey, you need to be more like me. You need to be more like us." But Hashem comes in again, even with this case of Lavan and Yaakov. Hashem comes in and he saves the day, and he tells Lavan, "You're going to leave him alone, or you're going to deal with me."
Bye, everybody. We'll see you soon.
But Hashem saves us. Matzilenu miyadam. Hashem saves us. You could say hello.
Hello.
So what happens next? That's one way. And when the Haggadah says that Lavan was worse than Paro, he was almost worse. He wanted to destroy the whole concept of Bnei Yisroel. No Bnei Yisroel, no Jewish people. Bnei Lavan.
No.
Yes, and we would have looked very different. Maybe we would have been wearing our pants on our heads instead of on our bottoms, because maybe that's what Lavan did. Who knows? But that's not what happened. Hashem protected us. And so Lavan wanted to destroy everybody, but it didn't work. And that is one
entire nation.
That's right. And that's one way in which Hashem sends an outside nation, outside forces to press on us. But what happened? After this happened, the Jewish Yaakov and his sons go back to Eretz Canaan, and we see that they become, right after that story, they become the Bnei Yisroel. They become Bnei Yisroel, not just Yaakov and his kids, after they return from Lavan, because it was that bad guy bully Lavan, the outside forces that brought Yaakov and his children together to start and become the nation that we'd all become, the Bnei Yisroel. Because until then, it was just Yaakov and his sons and his 12 sons. Now they were Bnei Yisroel.
Right now.
That's right. Right now, Bnei Yisroel. And there's this interesting thing in the Haggadah. The Haggadah goes on and says, Arami Ovid Avi, the Armenian.
I'll be back soon.
Tried to destroy my father. Vayered Mitzrayma, Vayager Sham. He went down to Mitzrayim and he sojourned. He sojourned there. That means he just went there kind of temporarily. He didn't think he was going for a long time. Bimseimat, very few, but he sham lagoy. There he became a nation. Gadol atzum v'rav. Okay, we'll talk about that maybe next time. But what does that mean that they went down? Yaakov went down to Mitzrayim, and he was only vayagor sham. He went to kind of like sojourn, stay there temporarily. Why is the Haggadah telling me that? Why is the Haggadah telling me? Why do we have this pasuk that tells us that Yaakov went? He went down to Mitzrayim eventually. That's by Yosef, but he only went down not to stay for a long time. It ended up being that we did stay for a long time, but the Haggadah is telling us that we didn't stay for a long time, or that Yaakov didn't think he was going to stay for a long time. Why? Why do you think Yaakov only went down there intending to stay for not a long time? See if anybody knows. Figure this one out. 10 seconds on the clock. So perhaps Yaakov thought after the Arami Oved Avi, after the Armenian Lavan tried to destroy Yaakov, maybe he thought that the promise that Hashem made to Abraham about him going somewhere, about Abraham's descendants going somewhere, and being attacked by another nation, another people to try to destroy them, had come true with Lavan. The Arami Oved Avi, the Armenian Lavan. Yeah, he thought that Lavan was the one who would come to destroy them and fulfill the promise that made them into a people that would stay as a people forever. And that's what happened. They did become a people. They became the Bnei Yisroel after Lavan. But Yaakov was wrong. It wasn't enough. That trying for assimilation that originally made the Bnei Yisroel wasn't going to be enough to hold them together and make them the people that they would become when they left Mitzrayim to go to the land. That was going to require something else. That was going to require an even harsher reality, an even harsher outside pressure. There is a large pressure system coming from the northeast. It's going to bring a lot of rain, a lot of storm, right? It's going to take a lot more than just Lavan to make the Jewish people become that close-knit people that they will be. That's right. It's going to take a country like Mitzrayim, a ruler like Paro, and the conditions that the Jewish people would be under to do that for them. And so we will talk about that tomorrow. And now for the second part of our video that we always do, and that is talking about some of the halachos of Pesach. So we talked about all the chametz. You got to get rid of the chametz. Chametz is flour, water, and more than 18 minutes, and other things like that. Got to get rid of it by the 14th. Got to get out of your house. Do that bedika. Use a single wick candle, not a giant torch, because you don't want to burn down the house. And then make sure it's all burnt and destroyed physically and out of your mind by the morning of the 14th. And then
now you're talking about taking out, doing the fire.
That's right, the fire. Be your chametz. Then you have a bit of time between then. That's the first third of the halachic day. Side note, in halacha, in Jewish law,
I know.
a day is divided. A day is the hours where the sun comes up and the sun sets, and you pick those hours, no matter how many hours that is, and you divide it into 12 parts. Now, on a long summer day, those hours, those 12 hours, those 12 parts could be more than 60 minutes. They could be 65 or 68 minutes. On the winter months, when the days are really short, not a lot of sunlight, those hours could be 40 minutes or 50 minutes. So you break it up into 12 equal parts of daylight, and then the first 4 hours, which would be the first third of the day, that's when you have to burn your chametz. After that, the next 8 halachic hours, you can't eat any chametz, and you can't eat matzah yet. You have to wait for the seder to eat the matzah. At the seder, at the seder, we're going to need to eat matzah. We're also going to need to drink 4 cups of
Wine.
4 cups of wine. Does anybody know what the 4 cups of wine are equivalent to? Why 4 cups? Let's give 10 seconds on the clock. Why 4 cups? Wait, see if they know.
No answers. It's done.
Okay, let's see. So we have 4 cups. The 4 words. Excellent. Yaakov says the 4 words. That's right. He is hinting at the 4 different terms in which Hashem refers to the redeeming of the Jewish people. That Hashem will take us out. There are 4 words in which 4 ways which the Torah describes that Hashem will take us out. We'll talk about those maybe tomorrow. And one cup for each way in which Hashem takes us out. Each cup is for a different way in which Hashem brought about the Geula, Hashem brought about the redemption to bring us out of Mitzrayim. And we will pick up tomorrow. I hope everybody is well and everybody watching this has a great day, a great night, wherever you are. And we will see you soon. Thank you.